All right, what's up, everybody? Today we are looking at Misfits and Barebells. This is a really great comparison because they're actually two brands that live in the same space, right? And so we're going to be able to really clearly look at how they market a very similar product in different ways, and what we can actually learn from each of those, and how to really, my main thing that I took from this is how to position your value prop in a way that is actually going to have an impact on the marketing that you do. And so, your value proposition is everything. The reason that people are buying from you, what are they actually doing? What is it? What is compelling them to decide on your brand over another? So the two brands we have for you today, as I said, are Misfits and Barebells. If you haven't seen these, possibly don't live in the U.S., or haven't been down the protein aisle at Target, or anything like that, you might not be familiar with these brands, but they are pretty popular, and they both occupy this space of kind of making protein bars almost like candy. I have never had Misfits, but I have had Barebells before, and it really does feel like you're just eating a chocolate bar a lot of the time when you are opening one of these up and hitting your macros, right? And so it's a really great way to actually look at the different ways that brands are actually positioning a product within a similar space. And so, right off the bat, we can kind of see there's two very different styles of emails that they have going out. Misfits is a lot more branded, a lot more kind of colorful. They have really chosen a style and a very clear, this is who we are, this is how we present our products. Whereas Barebells is a little bit more, honestly, I'm going to say dated here, just in the way that they present their products, the way they are kind of structuring their emails and whatnot. And so, the other thing to remember is that, I'm not getting every single one of Barebell's emails. This is what we're pulling from online. And so there could be other emails that we're missing. These might just be flow emails, but even if they are, there's some room for improvement there. And let's just go through and kind of compare one to one what Misfits is doing versus what Barebells is doing. So the first thing that strikes me right off the bat is, look at these images of people, right? So we know from many, many marketing studies that faces and people sell. When you see a face in an ad, you are more, there's a statistical improvement in the way that people interact with them. And so we have emotion, we have a feeling that's being conveyed. So joy here, or like this is even, like almost like meant to be scary but fun in a way, because she has her nails, but it's, still this like aggressive face that is the whole email. But the eyes are very striking, and it's a tactic within marketing to put that, because we are biologically supposed to, we look at eyes when that happens. We look at faces because we are people, and we are programmed that way. Whereas right off the bat, this Barebells email has the members club, but we can't even see his face. His face is completely cut off to focus more on the products. And so we're missing kind of that engaging, I'm going to look at this person and I'm drawn in because a person is actually is holding or interacting with the product. The other thing that shows up here that I see is, all three of these emails, it's very clear that it's the same brand. Here it is less clear that it's the same brand. It looks like Barebells is moving towards a little bit more designed emails with the kind of background here, whereas these feel like they are pretty much just standard Klaviyo blocks that are being dragged in, and the text just being filled out. And so, when you have something like this, it's about creating that ongoing representation of your brand that people automatically click into, automatically understand, automatically know that it's your brand there. And Misfits does quite a bit better of a job at that than the other than Barebells does. Um, and so, there's next. Let's talk about how they actually show the the bars themselves. So, there's a lot of here you can, obviously they're selling a newer product, which is their protein candy. And so, they're trying to bring in an actual, low sugar. I actually don't even know if there is protein in this, um, which I would hope so, because I would assume if I were to pick up a Barebells candy that there should be protein in it. But maybe this is just more of a like guilt-free snack type thing without sugar. Um, but the way, we're seeing this here, which is great. I love that. I really like this too. Showing the inside of the bar that kind of really represents like dessert feeling, because that truly is the value proposition of both of these brands. It's, candy protein, right? So how do we get protein, but it doesn't feel like you're eating a protein bar? Um, and so they both do a decent job of showing that. Um, Misfits, there are other emails that they have that are more of this kind of really showing the inside of the bar, making it look like dessert. They have the chocolate drizzling down here. They have another similar picture to what Barebells has over here. But they also do a lot more of this in some of the other emails that are in the full swipe file that you'll get if you opted in to see this video. Um, and so, the reality is like this display of the product and this like compelling, it's candy not protein, is a really really good value proposition to be presenting to your buyers, because that is, when I think of Barebells, I think of it's a candy bar that is a protein candy bar and is healthy. Is something that if I were to want a Snickers or something like that, I could go grab. Like one of their like peanut one is the one that I like a lot. Um, and so, they do a good job of showing that in this first image. But other than that, they don't really continue through with that. They have similar presentation of the bars through here, but it's more so just product blocks rather than kind of like active hands holding it, or interaction with the product itself. And so, I think that there's definitely a lot to be learned from this when you start to think about how do you show what it truly matters to your customers. Okay. And that is a huge piece of marketing, especially in email. We want immediately to show them this is what you should care about with our product, right? And we want to show them, we want to tell them, and then we want to make it easy for them to say, yes, that's what I want, and I'm gonna click through to the website and get that, right? And at the moment, even though Barebells is showing a little bit more texture and product in the heroes here, they're not saying that really at all. So, go bananas, it's back, restock alert. So, people are excited about this. And I think this is one thing that probably email might not matter as much to Barebells right now, because I know for sure that it is hard to get some of the certain flavors. They have so many different flavors. It's very tough to like the banana bread probably sells out really quickly, and there are other flavors that I know are harder to find. They're not all in the different stores and whatnot that carry them. It's kind of like looking for the one that you want and hoping that the store that you're in has it. But what Misfits is doing here is they're actually saying what we are thinking about this. They're going straight to the point, candy coated, protein loaded. Like I love that. It's a very great way of relaying what is actually the benefit of the product, what people actually want from Misfits, in a very quick and snappy way. Same as this one, unapologetically indulgent. Feed me chocolate as the CTA, like that. That's huge, because now I'm thinking about this as a chocolate bar rather than a protein bar, and all the rest of the benefits are something that, come in later. So, 15 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar, you know, wedged between your 2 p.m. call and your email, pretending you're still pretending you didn't see. Like, this is a great way of really meeting the customer where they are actually interacting with the product and how they're interacting with the product. Um, and so, this is a. I'm honestly surprised because I know Barebells is a huge brand. Misfits I haven't tried, like I said, and there's a lot of room for being able to actually talk about the value of the product. This can be rolled out to any type of brand where we don't ever want to talk about features. We always want to talk about benefits. And so if you're not familiar with features versus benefits, this is like the most fundamental marketing, tactic that exists. It's instead of talking about your product, you want to talk about what matters to the customer within the product. It's not that there's 15 grams of protein. It's that this tastes amazing, is really, really good. You're going to want to eat it. It fits into your routine, and it has 15 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar, 2 grams of net carbs, etc. Right? And I'm not getting any of that from Barebells at the moment. Right now, I'm just getting information. Introducing Barebells. They're already coming into 1 gram of sugar. And shop now again 95% less sugar than regular soft candies, rather than it being like guilt-free, snack on this whenever you want, the anytime candy, the candy that does work, the candy that works within your goals. There's so many different ways that you can be presenting this product that isn't being taken advantage of right now. And so that is truly, when you go back and look at the whole swipe file, this is something that is consistent across pretty much all of the different products, whether they're marketing their protein sodas, snack like it's Sunday morning. That's decent, but again, it's more product based rather than user based. Because they're talking about banana bread, so snack like it's Sunday morning. There's really no hero in here that is compelling around what the user actually cares about, and it's more aligned with an offer or a product, which, that's not me saying that offers aren't great when you save 10% or buy 3 trays get 1 free of the sodas or something like that. But if we compare that to how Misfits does their headlines, it's, crashes versus snacks. Let's take gooey treats to another level. We made protein taste like a treat. The sweetest nostalgia. There's a lot more thought going into how this actually relates to what is happening in the customer's mind and how they think about your product. And so, overall, it's pretty obvious where the extra design is coming in. This is more just image blocks that have been kind of put together, whereas this is like a full, unit comprehensive email that is thought through and designed in a way that kind of pushes you through it. But on top of that, and the thing that stands out even more to me is the way that they are actually presenting the product and the way that it's being shown to users. And so anytime that you're designing this for your own brand, think about how do we talk about it from a perspective of what's actually in the customer's mind of why they're buying the product versus just what the product is. And so, this is something that I recommend for every brand to utilize, to put in their heroes, because this is the only thing that most people read in an email, if we're being honest. Think about how you interact with email. You jump in, you look at the hero, and you're already decided if you're going to be clicking or not, because it's that subject line and that hero and that image that really buy the next step, or earn the next step, which is the click, right? And so if I'm opening this feed me, I'm more likely to click on feed me chocolate than there's no CTA in this hero, shop now. It's more about it's more an exchange here now rather than something compelling, and it goes straight into like a paragraph and the features of the product. And so when we are analyzing emails when we're working with brands, a lot of the time we're working from this and helping them get to a level here, which, like I said, it might just be that Barebells is not focused on email at the moment because they are out of stock in a lot of places. They're expanding very quickly. They're adding different products and things like that. Whereas I'm not sure if that's where Misfits is. They might be trying to, maximize the existing SKUs that they have. But it's a clear opportunity here, not only in design but also in the presentation of the product and the presentation of the value proposition. And so for me, when it comes to email, it was pretty clear. Misfits is like the clear winner with how they're presenting their SKUs. But that's not to say that whatever is happening in retail and across the market isn't working in Barebell's favor at the moment. But this is just looking at one channel, one way that they're selling. And so always take that into mind because there are different market conditions and different, KPIs and things like that that brands are tracking internally that might not make sense for email to be Barebell's focus, but it's very clear here that Misfits is kind of blowing Barebells out of the water with how they're presenting. But yeah, I hope this was helpful to you guys and that you got something out of this today. But let me know if you have any questions, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one.